Also with us today, we'll be in there, don't you worry. Also with us today is licensed clinical psychologist Dr. Lindsay Heller. She's new to our family, but she is here with arms wide open, helping. She specializes in helping families and parents specifically deal with something that's very familiar to a lot of people, and that is the empty nest syndrome. That's you. Yeah, she went through this painstakingly, right?
It's very sad.
So how do, let's talk, parents are, attaching themselves to their children too much? Is that what leads to this?
Well, actually, it's quite normal to have empty nest syndrome. And I mean, what happens is that, you place so much value in your identity and, their experience of raising them for 18 years, and then they're off to college, and empty nest syndrome is the experience of the feelings that you have after they've left. And it's very
sad.
There's ways to get through it, though.
There are a lot of ways to get through it, and we're going to talk all about that today.
Yeah, because it's going to be that time. Kids are heading off to college. We also have two moms that are going to be here dealing with the empty nest syndrome in two very different ways. Single mother is one, another's experiencing that empty nest syndrome for the second time. So yeah, it's not.
It doesn't get any easier. I had 7 of them leave, and it was hard
That's
each time.
Big nest.
Yeah, it's a big nest. Actually, I'm glad they're gone now. It's like they're out. I'm glad. Yes. Well, okay, that's a lot. And the dogs too. Take them all out.
Okay, up next, Dr. Lindsay Heller is here. She's helping parents successfully navigate the empty nest syndrome. It is next. Okay, so look, it's never easy to watch your kids grow up and fly from the nest into adulthood, and some have more trouble than others letting go. So we have asked Dr. Lindsay Heller to come here and help us make that transition a little bit easier. We also have with us today, joining us, 2 mothers, both with unique stories of their experiences with the empty nest syndrome. Wileen Charles is here on my right. They're both on my right, actually, but close to my right. She's our production manager here at Home and Family. And then Deborah Supnick is our talent booker on the show. They're both joining us. They're already loaded with a lot of emotions, so we want to make sure we get through this with arms wide open for them. Let me get to just quickly, we touched on this. Lindsay, in a nutshell, what is empty nest syndrome?
Empty nest syndrome is the experience of the different feelings and the emptiness that you might feel after your child has departed your home for college or a career. And you could feel a lot of anxiety. You may even feel depression.
Right. So, Deborah, you're experiencing that currently, yes?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
And I experienced it first when my daughter went away to college. And I think I really handled it pretty well. I was busy with work, and she would come back and forth for holidays, so I always looked forward to that. I never, like a lot of parents, got into, taking over their room, or suddenly I wanted her to know her home was always with us. And basically what happened is that maybe it got a little too far, where she made a commitment then to live on the East Coast, and we live here on the West Coast. And what happened is that now she's met a young man, and for 2 years they've been going out, and it looks really serious. So now I'm confronted with going through this empty nest syndrome yet again, but not even with the expectation that her trips home will be regular. And when I went back Christmas time to visit, it was almost like this family of this young man, that she was more part of their family than my family, and it's just caused me just undue stress. So,
have you talked to her about how you're feeling about it?
Yes, I have.
We could see that it's really upsetting you.
It's really upsetting me.
This is something that we'll get to you in a minute, Wileen, because yours is a little bit different story, but this experience is very raw and dramatic and very real.
Yeah. I'm wondering also, how are you keeping in contact up to this point? Because there's so many ways we can these days, through Skyping and texting and phone calls and even physical visits across the country.
I do do that very regularly. At night, she has a very busy job now. She works as a lawyer in New York City and late hours, so she'll call me from the taxi at 2 a.m. her time, on her way home from work. So we do that. And as I said, I went there at Christmas time, but I haven't seen her since Christmas. And on Saturdays, we'll go for a walk, and I'll see other moms and their daughters shopping, meeting for lunch, and I just have just such a feeling of inside loss that I don't have the expectation that she would move back into my house if she came back to this city, that she has to have her own life, that she is a professional. But at the same time, it would be nice to be able to meet on Saturday and have lunch together, or if there's a family birthday, have her available to, join us.
How much is that the pain that she's feeling is also the loss of her daughter not being here, but also being replaced, not that you're being replaced, but there's another family involved that she's more involved with. That
makes it extra painful, definitely. And also something that you can't help on a regular basis. You can't actually physically be there all the time. And, that makes it more difficult. But what could be very helpful here is to develop a community here for yourself that doesn't, again, replace her daughter being gone, but can also help you with your separation from her.
Well, what kind of community are you referring to?
Well, whether that be meeting up with other moms who are going through the same thing, because sometimes if people aren't going through this, they may brush it off as not a big deal. They might play it down, but this is a big deal, and this is normal. The feelings that you're having are very valid and can be very painful. And even maybe seeking out a mental health professional for therapy could be helpful as well.
But wait, when you say that, does that mean her feelings, did she do something wrong to get to this point and have these feelings? Because I imagine on some levels it's very torturous to have this feeling. You don't want to feel this way, but you can't help. So was there an incorrect path she maybe?
No, I don't think that. I don't think that there's necessarily an incorrect path. I mean, you poured all your love into your daughter, and that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. I think maybe where it went astray is that there needs to be some balance, and you need to be able to support yourself and your separation as well, and pour that energy and attention into yourself during this time period.
All right, we'll get back to that in 1 second, Deborah. But Willeen, we want to ask you about you and your daughter. She's just about to embark on her college career. So what's happening with you?
She's 17, and I'm a single parent, and we've been getting ready for college for many years. And we're at a point where she is applying for colleges and so on and so forth, but I need to give her the space that she needs to kind of be independent enough to do it without over-mothering. So it's trying to find that balance of when do you step in, or, is this the time that I mom her?
Right. Is she at the point where she's found out where she's going?
Yes.
You know where she's going?
Yes, and she's going to Boston, and 3,000 miles away. I'm from Boston, so she'll be with grandparents and uncles.
Well, how do you feel about her leaving your home?
I have a lot of anxiety about it, and it, all day we've talked, and we have this lump in our throat where it's like, okay, I'm not gonna cry. But
But it's okay to cry. It's okay. I mean, this is a loss. It's a separation. But you haven't lost your daughters, you know? They are there. This is just an opportunity for actually a new relationship of sorts. It's changing. This is a time when the separation is healthy and you want it to happen. It's when it doesn't happen, in a clean, healthy way that it gets drawn out longer and can become even more painful. So when you're doing, you're in a place where you can actually be planning for this separation in such a way that you're thinking about it already. You're a working mom, so you do have your energy. You can put your energy into that. You can talk to other moms who are going through this. And
here to help her.
Yes. You have your own support group right here.
There's so much guilt.
But is Willeen headed towards where Deborah is right now? I mean, is she on that path?
Not necessarily. It's different for every parent, especially if you're doing a lot of planning now, or even just thinking about it and talking about it. And even when you make that transition, off when she's going to college, you want to make sure that you don't suffocate her with too many texts or too many Skyping or too many expectations. It's your job to allow that space at this time during this transition so that she can go off and become that independent adult that she needs to become. And any kind of pain or difficulty that you have, you take it to your group of friends, or you take it, to be able to talk to a therapist or something.
You notice too, it takes, as Tony told you over the weekend, that the days are long but the years are short. All of a sudden, you're driving the kids every year, so much a part of their life, and all of a sudden it is just over, and it's really hard to take. But I went through the same thing, but after a year, after they were gone, and I went through that empty nest syndrome, and I cried every day. It's painful. And after they started coming back to visit and stuff, or staying overnight, or staying, it's like, oh my God, you need to, you really want them. It does change. You change, your child changes, and the whole relationship changes for the better.
We have more with Dr. Heller when we come back, including what does it mean if you don't have an empty nest syndrome? We are back with licensed clinical psychologist, Dr. Lindsay Heller, and we're here with our moms, Colleen Charles and Deborah Supnick. And let me, just for a second, Deborah, you're very emotional in this break. Tell me about your feelings for your daughter. Well, how deep do they run?
Well, she's my only child, and she was actually born at a time my mom passed away while I was pregnant with her. And so it has been just a very emotional connection with us she was growing up. But I did also raise her to know that she has to be her own independent person, and that I wasn't always going to be there for her. And I encouraged her to go to the East Coast. But at the point, maybe I did a little bit too much of a sell job, because now she's just not coming home and has made this new life with this new family. When I went to see her, it was like she and this young man's parents, that they could relate to going to theater or going to doing this and that. And my husband and I just sort of sat there like,
are you
here we are.
of that?
I'm very jealous of it.
So there's a lot of emotion
Very
in
jealous.
this as well. And let me ask you, is her daughter coming home?
It doesn't sound like she's going to be moving back here, but you haven't lost her.
But I mean in a bigger sense,
yes. No, I mean, you definitely haven't lost her. She's going to return to you and be with you for, holidays, and also in your heart.
Well, how does she deal with her sense of loss and her sense of resentment and even jealousy? Because those are real emotions.
Yeah, I mean, this seems like there's a lot of feelings and a lot of things even related to you're going back to the pregnancy, even with losing your mom. There might be some deeper issues here that also could be helped by some therapy, but some of the things that, that can help you is even just what you're doing right now, just being able to talk it out, and also developing your own identity separate from your daughter, and also reconnecting with your husband. And, those are all really important things for you, focusing on you during this time period. There's no way that she can move. You can't go for weekends every weekend to New York. It's just not going to happen. But you're going to maintain a relationship with your daughter. You have a very strong bond with her.
And how is she going to deal with the fact when she goes back there and she's with that family to suppress those feelings that she's having of resentment?
Yeah, I would be curious about what, is that her insecurity, or, her daughter still is connected with you and loves you, and you shouldn't be worried about that if that's true, but it might be some feelings of insecurity when she goes back. But just to remind herself that that's what that's about, that it's not reality.
I want to ask Colleen something. As that clock is ticking to the day where packing up and shipping off to Boston, do you find yourself clinging more and more?
Yes.
Yes.
Is that good?
It's over-mothering. Either I come on too strong, or I pull back and allow her to, make her choices, but then I go into guilt of, am I spending enough time with her?
It's such a difficult balance, and I would say that that's the #1 issue when it comes to this stage, when she's about to go off to college. And it can transition into the fall when she's at college. And what you don't want is, what I was saying before about smothering. You don't want to smother her so that you're pushing her further away from you.
I feel like I'm smothering her, though.
Well, then we need to pull back a little bit and have a little bit of balance, and listen to her cues when she's telling you, okay, Mom, this, that. You're still mothering her, but she's growing up. You need to sort of separate a little bit there.
Well, speaking of mothering the child, how often should a parent check in with them?
Once they're away at college, I would say once a week is probably what you're going to get.
Does that hurt? Does that hurt?
Yeah, I mean, I sort of obeyed by that. I didn't
Some are every day.
do all these
there's a
calls,
range.
but yeah, but once a week is tough.
Sometimes the child can feel pressure to
tough for
talk
you
to the
once a
parent.
week.
Once a week is very
And it
tough.
can become an uncomfortable situation for the child, and then they might avoid it because they feel too much pressure to stay in contact with their parent, even though they want to. But then when the parent calls them or tries to connect with them or complains that they're not hearing from them enough, it hurts their feelings, hurts parents.
Is this just something mothers tend to experience more than the father?
In my experience, yes. Although both parents do experience this to some degree, absolutely.
At the same depth?
Yeah, I mean, mostly because in traditional homes, sometimes there's a mother who hasn't, has maybe not worked, been a stay-at-home mom, raised them the whole, their 18 years, got them into a great college with, and
boom,
and then they're
over.
gone.
Yeah.
And then there's an identity crisis that occurs. Who am I? Am I needed? What do I do? And it's that point that there's an opportunity to actually think about, what do I want to do? Do I want to start a new career? Do I want to be involved in new hobbies? Do I want to join this group, do some charity? It's an opportunity to sort of redefine your identity, but you're not losing your daughter. She's still there.
Is there anything that your daughters could say to you that would help release you from the pain that you're going through or the anxiety you may be feeling?
I think that voice would be, Mom, I'm still going to be here. Don't worry.
Yeah.
That's it exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just to know that I'm not being replaced by the mom of this young man, that, that she still feels that she wants to, she's part of our family too. And that's what's, really important is that,
I mean, both of you have done a wonderful job of being emotionally connected to your daughters. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here struggling with this right now. Yeah. And they feel that. They know that. I think that's what the voice would say is, I'm not going anywhere. And if anything, you've built them up so strong that they can go out, explore the world, and know that they can come back to you.
How long does this last?
Forever.
The emptiness.
Forever and done.
Oh, gosh.
You guys.
Forever and ever.
I would say that if once, from the time that they go off to college, if you're still struggling with it to a very a difficult degree where it's affecting your functioning in your life, your work, your family, your friends, after 6 months, then it would be time to seek some professional help.
Okay.
William, Deborah, thank you. I know it's not easy to come on national TV and talk about things like this.
Thank
It's
you,
so
Dr.
emotional.
This is healing. This is good.
And yes. And Dr. Heller, thank you so much for coming and holding our hands through this process. If you want to know more, you can visit Dr. Lindsay Keller at drlindsaykeller.com or go to our website and call your mom and dad and tell them you love them every single day. Up next, we're going to show you how to make some I got some wall hangings. I'm going to call them, because they're not bookshelves, repurposed wine crates. Look how beautiful they are, except for the red.
We did it in red.
It's over.